Hi, buon tardi, Turende. Thank you very, very much for this opportunity coming from 𝗂𝗃 Chamber of Commerce. My presentation will be in English, but by all means, if you have the questions at the end, feel free to ask them in Dutch or Papiamentu or English or whatever language that we all understand and you feel comfortable with, feel free to do so. I am open to answer any questions that you might have. Jumping into the presentation, today we're going to talk about strategic management and technology, and basically how to align technology with your business goals. Usually we do not think about it this extensive, but there's always a way to strategically integrate technology into your business. Have you ever experienced that you are typing like crazy? Well, I've been doing that a long time. Or that you're practically kind of giving up of life, that you don't even know what else to do, how else to do things, you don't have any help, things are piling up, and you're sitting at work just like this. It happened to me quite a few times, but now I tend to work smarter and not harder, basically. And that's all because of strategic ways I do things. A little bit about me, my background. I have a master's degree in media innovation, so that means I try to integrate technology in every single thing that I do, and also basically how to integrate technology strategically into businesses as well. Previous experiences I have or sessions that I had, basically I do focus groups, as you can see here with the 55 plussers. This was a very interesting project because they also want to be included. You have the presentations at school. Here you see a person, a young generation with VR goggles. I love technology, so therefore I also tend to teach people about technology and let them experience. I attend seminars, I presented seminars as well, and I have two publications, one focusing on how avatars would feel if their partner would use virtual reality pornography, actually. And also for the second publication that I have is we created an art gallery in virtual reality, the Lai Art Galleries. So if you click on the QR code, it will go to Spatial, which you have to download and create your avatar to be able to see it. I can share the slide as well with you to be able to view it. So for today, we're jumping right in it. For today, we're going to focus on quite a few points. So we're going to focus today on how to align technology with strategy, assess digital maturity with business needs, choose the right tools, because we do not want to waste time. We do not want any other tool, which tools is right for you, build your transformation roadmap, and see real life examples and what is next, of course. We will cover these points, so the current landscape, common tech struggles that I went through and probably you did as well, alignment with framework, picking the right tools, roadmap to success, key takeaways I will add as well to the end, and a Q&A. Technology is moving very fast, but the main question is, are you moving with technology, or are you walking alongside it or behind it? By you being here, I'm assuming, or my guess is that you are walking next to it and you want to walk up front, right? So what is the current landscape? We all focus on basically innovation and the fear of missing out in businesses. That means as well that when you think about fear of missing out, you want to focus on consumer loyalty. You don't not want to miss out on consumer loyalty because that means as well decrease of revenue. You want sales increase, of course, because you want your revenue to increase. Increase support for noble causes. So you do want to be part of a corporate responsibility session or projects to be able to as well sustainably be part of a community. And of course, you do want word of mouth endorsement. So you do want people to talk about you. You do want people to tell other people how great your service is, how awesome of a product you have, how fast they got help, right? So we do not want to miss on all of those things. But coming along to all of those things, there is also a pressure. So the innovation pressure because there are constantly daily new tools coming out. So you have to think about not only digital applications, but also integrated applications with AI, clouds, Web3, and even extended reality or virtual reality. Also, businesses feel their currency to act, but often without direction. So without direction, you get lost, and therefore you put an extra pressure on yourself. What risks do you get at that point? Shiny object syndrome. So you do want the most beautiful thing in the world. You do want your business to thrive and you want to succeed. But how are you going to do it if, for instance, you have a pile of paper next to you? The other thing is digital is no longer optional. Digital is no longer luxury. Digital is a must. Digital right now in this day and age is a survival. You really have to start integrated somehow, some type of technology, whether it's AI integrated or not, in your businesses, in your process, in your workflow to be able to meet the expectations of your client. Customers expect speed. So I didn't want something yesterday. I didn't want something tomorrow. I want it yesterday. I don't want it today, but I want it 2 days ago. I want things personalized. I want things customized, and I want you as the company to be as flexible as possible to cater my needs. Also, internal ops must match pace. So if you tell me it's going to happen tomorrow, make sure it happens tomorrow, right? Sometimes we focus on being perfect. Sometimes you focus on how am I going to make this happen? I really want this customer, but how am I going to retain the customer? I don't want them to walk away and leave firsthand. So you try to do every single thing and just say yes. But by saying yes as well, you mean that means as well that you have to do extra work to be able to understand something to execute that yes that you just promised. So digital, again, something digital application can help you with that. The cost of waiting is higher than the cost of acting. So basically, every single time you make a person wait, that for that person is not a good thing. That means the customer rating will not be as high. So digital applications can also help you with that. When tech doesn't fit your business, that's a whole different problem because then it's wasted investment. So right now there are a lot of very good applications that people are promoting on social media. They're promoting that on websites, on TikTok. But again, if it doesn't fit your needs, then it's a waste of investments because sometimes they are membership based or subscription based. You also get overlapping tools. So that means that you have, let's take for example ChatGPT, and you have Gemini as the platform that you use for the chatbots, but they're more or less the same, and you're paying for both of them. That means as well waste of money. Confused teams. So if you have a bigger team, that means as well that if you do not have in check what you want to accomplish and what you want to reach, if you do not have a strategic plan with your technology, it will be very, very confusing for your team to adopt it and to use it as well. And lastly, poor return on investments and slow adoption. So that means as well that if you do not use technology wisely, then your return on investment is going to be less, most likely to be less. And also the adoption will be slower because people do not understand what they have to do with so many applications all at the same time. It's not about the budget. Basically, it's all about the strategy that you're going to use. So in this image, you see two different visuals. The first one, small business plus smart tools equals impact. So you can create an impact with smart tools. So that means that small business, for instance, has subscription or free subscriptions with ChatGPT, Notion. That means as well that that person will create an impact later on his or her development of return on investment. On the other hand, sometimes you have large companies with no alignment because you have hierarchies, and that causes chaos. And chaos is something that we do not want, right? So that means as well, how are we going to make an impact instead of causing chaos? Let me break down the struggle for you. So basically, this is something you might relate to, that an employer, or you might say, we bought the tool, but no one uses them. This happens very often. So I work at some companies that they have two similar tools. So for instance, they have Google and also they have Teams, but then which one to use? In my case, I want to use Teams, but my colleagues, they don't like Teams. So therefore, the adoption will fail because it lacks alignment, and also there is no training. Another struggle you can go through is we're doing too much, nothing is sticking. So how can we make things happen? How can we make things stick? So this is because there is no clear roadmap, or basically you did not set your priorities right. So by doing these two things, creating a roadmap and also prioritizing, that means as well that things are going to stick so that you do not have to do too much. Also, you have technology or tech decisions are made without considering the broader organizational context. This means as well, probably the IT and the business are not connected. It can happen that the IT company is outside of your company, and then there's a miscommunication there. But also that means that within your company, if you have a larger, medium to a large company, that you have too much happening, you're making decisions, taking decisions, and then expect your employees to jump on board, and sometimes that causes a true disconnect and therefore can harm your services as well. How to start? I think this is the part that everybody has been waiting for. So where to start when it comes to aligning what you have? Well, it all starts with your strategy. You have to have a strategy in place where you can actually line out or check off what you need exactly, and also at what time. That means as well, you have to focus on the capabilities. So what do you need and have at this moment that you can execute your strategy? And lastly, how can technology help you reach your goal? And it all starts in every single way possible and every single step you take in your business. And also when it comes to introducing or revamping your services or products, define your vision. Find out what is your North Star. Let's say you see like the big star in the skies and you look at it and you say, I want to accomplish this specific goal. What do you want to accomplish? What is the short-term goal that you want to make, and what is the long-term goal that you make? So for instance, I would take myself as an example. I am an entrepreneur and I want by the end of each month, I want 10K per month, right? So that is my North Star. How do I reach? I want to reach 100K, ideally US dollars per month. So what am I going to do to be able to reach those goals? So then you start basically putting every single thing that you can do or you are able to do. In this case, when your business, which applications or service processes you have in your business to reach that goal. You have to assess your capabilities. So it boils down to three main things: the people, the process, and the technology or the tools that you want to use. This is an actual framework for based on the research. I can send the link as well I can share the link later with you. But for the people, who's doing stuff, who's doing what? If you're an entrepreneur, most of the time you're doing every single thing. That is true. I do know the feeling, but you still need the skills. So you have to learn skills, capacity, and you must have or adopt the digital mindset. If you do not have the digital mindset, it's going to be very difficult to be able to integrate technology in your structure. When it comes to processes here, you are focusing on how stuff is done. So is it manual? Is it automated? Is it agile? How is this done? So then you have to put all your processes on a piece of paper and say, okay, so for my business, I have XYZ processes to be able to accomplish my North Star, to accomplish my goals, whether it's short term or long term. Lastly, you have the technology tools. So what are you going to use? In this case, most of the time, like right now, it's a trend. Everything has to be AI-based, but sometimes it's the most difficult or most simple things, excuse me, that you have to do or can integrate to be able to have a win. So what are we going to use? Is our system or application outdated? Is it overlapping? Do we have 3 of the same things working with because of XYZ? Is there a disconnect within the organization? So these are all of the things that you have to take a look at, acknowledge, especially for the digital mindset, acknowledge them to be able to get a win. You have to know what your current strengths are. You have to know what are your gaps. What gaps do you see in the market? Usually my gaps I see in the market, very simple for the virtual reality art gallery. I saw a gap in the market that basically I wanted to create something in virtual reality. Nobody has done it before. So therefore, I had to find like-minded people to be able to support like-minded and also digital-minded people to support this project. The process was basically I had to find someone within this whole system to be able to create the process for me. So therefore, we had a designer. And they used Spatial. So the platform that we used was Spatial, and that was because it was or is one of the most famous platforms to use when it comes to virtual environments. But that gap, if you acknowledge the gap and you focus on the capabilities, the people, the process, and technology, you can easily win and accomplish your goals. Select the tech to serve your strategy. Usually we tend to search for whatever tech we can find. We download a bunch of applications, but tech is not always the answer. Tech does not solve the problem. It's the enabler. So that means as well that you have to go through all of your processes to see whether maybe it's not even you need an application, but maybe you have to teach a person how to work correctly with an application to be able to accomplish that win. You have to search for tools that pretty much aligns with your goals as well, aligns with what you want to accomplish to fulfill the gaps on the short and the long term. Turning your vision into something measurable, into the measurable goals, it is not only about setting something, but you have to set your goals. You have to, for instance, in my case, I want each and every month 10K, ideally US dollars in my pocket. That's even for me a short-term plan, but you need to have a long and a short-term plan. For instance, for a short-term plan, you can say, I want to increase my sales by 15%, or I want to automate repetitive tasks. Again, some of these things are not even AI-based. On the other hand, you have even more of a long-term goal where you focus mostly on how to expand to a new market. What am I doing to be able, or what do I have to do to be able to meet the international expectations? Another goal can be how to build a future of innovation or a culture of innovation within your company or within your enterprise, whether it's small or big or large. These are the goals that you have to set for yourself to be able to accomplish them. there are different tools, and sometimes not even tech related, that you can actually think of to be able to set smart and measurable goals. I found a few use cases that basically I focused on the department aspect, so which department it is, the strategic use, and examples that you can use. Again, these examples are not all AI-based, because it is not only about AI nowadays. It's about how to make your life easier and pretty much have more time for yourself. And especially as an entrepreneur, and if you are an octopus, how can you have more time to do what you actually enjoy, right? So if you start with the sales department, the customer relation management for pipeline tracking, lead management, and forecasting. Sometimes you have them all over the place and scattered. So there are applications such as HubSpot, Salesforce, and Pipedrive that you can use to be able to have or create that pipeline. I know HubSpot is one very famous one in Salesforce, but both of them are paid as well. So sometimes you do get the free versions of applications or system, but other times, most of them are right now paid. People are making a lot of money doing business with, let's say, the digital systems. For the marketing, you can use campaign automation and analytics for customer segmentation, which is very good, and that you can use, for instance, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, SEMrush, for instance. For HR, right now, they are very much focusing as well, and this one I do know they're really talking about how can you ethically integrate AI into the system, because of course you are managing private information of people, or the talents that they're going to recruit. So they're focusing a lot on digital onboarding, recruiting automation, and engagement. So these are as well a few of the examples that you can use as a system. For the operations, this one is a very fun one because I do a lot of operation work. And I remember at the beginning, I started to somehow do everything kind of manual. I bought my agenda, calendar, notebook, but at one point it didn't work. So automating flow work and optimizing resource allocation is the best thing you can do when it comes to operations, and especially if you have, maybe you are an entrepreneur or an individual with different projects or different businesses. So you can use Monday.com, Asana, I did use Asana, and ClickUp. In my case, sometimes I tend to be very cheap, to be honest. So I have my workflow in Google as well. So you can actually, you don't have to always spend money on applications. It depends on what you have or what you want to do, what your goals are. But sometimes the simplest thing in Google or the Microsoft 360 or 365, you can actually have a very good workflow system. Another example, for instance, for this one specifically is, what's it called? Notion as well. It's a very good one. Also, Notion is very good for marketing. For finance, you have the real-time reporting, budgeting, and forecasting. In this case, the most known are QuickBooks and Xero. You have also Planful, but you can also get free versions of the applications. I used to use Wave at one point. That is a free version. There is a free version, and you can do quite a lot with it. Customer service, AI chatbots, ticketing system, feedback management. You have a lot of you have Zendesk, Freshdesk, and Intercom, for instance. IT and digital integration. This you can go all out at one point because there are constantly something new coming in. In this case, the integration of management, cybersecurity, and infrastructure is very important, right? So Microsoft Azure, Okta, or Zapier is very famous for the integration management. bringing it all together, for starters, you have to focus on your vision. So what is your North Star? What do you want to accomplish? Do you also want to accomplish that 10, 20K per month? For instance, is that your vision? So what strategy are you going to use to accomplish that vision? What are the gaps? How are you going to fill those gaps? The capabilities. What are you going to do? Who do you need to accomplish this goal? Maybe it's not even, maybe you don't even need a computer, but you just need that specific person to connect you with more people to be able to create new processes so that you can include the tools that you need. And lastly, which tool fits with your vision? Which tools fits with your goal? That is the most important thing, because if you do not choose the right tool, that means that all of the front work that you did, probably you have to redo some of them to be able, or to meet the expectations of the tech tool, or you have to change the tech tool if you do not use it, or if you did not choose it wisely at the first time. This means as well that strategy-driven technology equals sustainable growth. What do I mean with this one? That if by any means you have a vision and you have a very good strategy in place on how to meet your goal, or that means as well that making use of technology can make the growth very sustainable, that at one point you can make it much more automated. That means you work less, that means you're still productive, and you still get the money at the end of the month. We're going to cover this because tomorrow, so the 1st, 2nd, and the 3rd of April, I also have a session, or as in tomorrow and 2 days after that as well. And we're going to focus on the digital transformation. So I highly recommend you to follow it as well, because we're going to start with the foundation, the fundamentals of digital transformation. And then we're going to continue, because I have special guests as well coming in for session 2 and 3, because I love to collaborate to be able to grow, to be able to make my company much more sustainable. So I have guests coming in as well to focus more on the automation aspect and the workflow, how to automate it even better for you. So I do recommend, so you have a vision, you do have your strategy and capabilities, but for the tech tools, if possible, if you can, please come back tomorrow and 2 days after that to be able to get more insights about automation to make your life easier. That is also one strategy for you to be able to basically be more productive and work less. Now, choosing the right tool. This is the most important thing that sometimes we completely forget about. We do not evaluate what we use or how we use it. If the evaluation is very important when it comes to technology. Does it solve a real problem? That is the first question you have to ask. You have the problem, does it solve it? If it doesn't solve it, then that specific application is not right for your business. Is it easy to use? Some people still are not really comfortable using technology, and that is okay. So do not choose something that you need to code. I don't know how to code, that's why I do not use application that incorporates or I have to code. So try to use something easy for you to understand, or something that you can explain your employees. Is it scalable? So by purchasing the software or by subscribing to the software, does it make me grow? If it doesn't make you grow, then it's not right for you. Is it integration ready? Can you integrate it in other systems? For instance, you have Zapier that you can, other applications as well, that you can basically connect a lot of things together to be able to connect, let's say, your emails to social media, or you can, with your social media, you can upload one picture and it's published all over the social media accounts. So is it integration ready? Yes or no? So if you answered mostly no, then probably the application that you might be using is not the one you need for your specific goal. During these past few years, there has been a lot of changes when it comes to technology. And as of 2 years ago, and I think last year, especially on the island, the first thing that everybody is talking about is artificial intelligence and automation. This is also a trend in 2025 still. And why does it matter? Because it boosts your productivity, it handles repetitive tasks, even emails, yes, and it enables predictive insights. So that means that if I want to find out which which audience I have to target, through automations and artificial intelligence and the back end work of it, it is possible. So that means as well, I don't have to go through a bunch of files or a bunch of papers to be able to analyze the insights. Cloud systems are still a go. Enables flexible working, so you can work from home or you can work in a different country. Real-time collaboration. So for instance, if you have the Microsoft Teams, you can work in there all together in one document or a Google Doc. You can work as well with at least 4+ people in there, and it is also scalable. One other trend is no coding or very low codes applications where you do not have to precisely code to get that specific application. And that empowers non-tech teams to build tools, reduces IT bottlenecks as well. Now, this is not really a pro for the ITers out there, but as, let's say, an entrepreneur, small business, startups, it's very handy and recommendable to actually search for non-tech or to build tools, applications with no coding specifically to your needs. Because if you want to pay an ITer, then I think you need a bigger budget. Cybersecurity is also very important nowadays, especially there are a lot of threats happening. So data protection systems and customer trust is very important. Data analytics is also very hype right now, drives smarter decisions and personalized experiences across departments. So not only, for instance, if you are small, medium, that is still manageable, but even so, the data can help you a lot. But when it comes to larger corporations, you really need these data to start making decisions. Digital experience platforms combines CMS, CRM, and automation for seamless customer experience. Customer experience is everything. Since a few years ago, everything is about the customer experience. It's not about you, it's not about your company, it's which experience you are giving to your customers. Because again, you don't want to feel left out because they're not talking about you. And sustainable tech, focus on the green computing, energy efficient tools, and environmental reporting. Usually as small businesses, we do not really focus on this, but we tend to tackle the sustainable tech in a different way, such as basically you buy a very good computer so that you do not have to throw the one away after a year or two. Energy efficient tools. This means as well that some of the tools in the back end of your computer, you can see it's running very high as well. That means it takes a lot of energy as well from your computer or in general. So in this case, you can also save a lot of money by not using a lot of tools. Use specific tools, only the ones that you need. I've built a smart stack, so we're going to talk about this as well a little bit further tomorrow. But basically, this is a framework that people are using to be able to basically highlight which tools they want to use, yes or no. So you have the marketing. I also mentioned HubSpot. It's a little bit pricey, I do have to say. Right now, I'm searching for a less pricey one, so when I find one, I will let you know. But the expected return on investment is to increase leads and conversion, for instance. Operations, Monday.com, or Slack even is also a very good one and also very much known. People are using these for transparency and to automate their tasks. I mean, if you have a team of 20 people even, through Monday.com or Asana, you can easily connect with your people. For the sales, you want pipeline management. For HR, faster onboarding. So this one, a lot of bigger companies they do have their own applications or system they have built according to their specific needs. But you can also have other tools that are helpful as well. For the finance, QuickBooks is one of the most famous applications, and it makes finance simple. So basically, I am not a numbers person. I am a very creative person. And usually these types of applications, or Xero is the one I use right now, it really helps me out. It's straight to the point, very direct, and I do not have to recalculate a lot. So that means as well, instead of investing a lot of time in something financial that I am not keen of, these applications can help you and you will go a long way, because instead of figuring things out for weeks or procrastinating, which is not good, for weeks, these applications, they make it very easy for you to be able to run a business. Customer support, you have Zendesk, but you also have other applications, and companies are building their own customer support based on their specific needs and experiences. And this is also to reduce response time, because again, I didn't want the service tomorrow, I wanted it yesterday, as fast as possible. Project management, you want to centralize the team and collaboration. They can also, besides ClickUp, you can also use Monday.com, or you can use Asana, for instance. You can also use Slack. For analytics and reporting, Google Data Studio is a good one. Automation, Zapier, to make the workflow much more efficient. And it's one of the most used right now as well. And lastly, you have communication as well. Slack, where you have, let's say, a dashboard and you can communicate easily. I do know some companies, they have the Microsoft 365. That is also a very good tool to use because it's faster. You can connect internally faster as well. Google also has it, but I don't like it as much as I do with the Teams one. So what about your digital transformation roadmap? Usually, of course, it can go longer than just 5 points, but you have 5 phases of the roadmap. You have discovery. So you're going to discover basically what you need. Again, your North Star is the key for your success when it comes to technology tools. You're going to discover, you're going to find out what you want and what you need. You're going to design it in a way you are going to create a strategy around it to be able to start executing as efficient and effectively as possible. You're going to deploy it. So basically, once you're done with it, and this is mostly for larger organizations as well, or at least in some ways, me myself, I do use these phases as well. I deploy it. So I see how I can use it. I make use of it. And then you drive adoption. So if you have a larger organizations, then this means that you have to give trainings. That means you have to write instruction books or manuals. That means you have to really have that check-in moment with your colleagues to be able to, for them to adopt the technology. And of course, you have to evaluate it, because without the evaluation, again, you do not know where to go, if it's good, yes or no. So going back to a few slides before this, answer these questions. These are just a few questions to find out whether the application or the software works, yes or no. You can also evaluate it by actually asking the person that is working with it to be able to find out if it works, yes or no. And sometimes you find out that, or there are specific components missing, or it doesn't work at all, or it does not meet the expectations at all. That means as well, if that is the case, that it does not comply with the goals, the vision, and or the outcome is not like you want, you have to go back to step number 1, right here, to discovery, to see, again, what is my vision and what do I want to accomplish on the short and long term. And then you continue to step number 2, 3, and 4, and it will always go on. So it will never end. And especially because right now there are a lot of one moment, please. Hindi ka session. No, hindi ka galit. My apologies for that. That is when you are in a workspace. These things happen as well. But going back to the presentation, one moment, present. I did not expect that to happen, so it threw me off a little bit. I do apologize for that. Yes, so going back to this cycle, it will never end. And you must evaluate every single thing, every single step that you take. I have a few examples. These are mostly international examples. And this is to show you basically what you might be able to do here on the island. Sometimes we have to be very creative in order to make things happen. But right now with internet connections, with applications, mobile applications, no coding applications, you are able to basically create a lot of things just by yourself. And sorry for the IT people, but without the need of an actual IT person. Sometimes I do recommend to have a specialist in-house, or most of the time to have a specialist in-house, or ask people you know, ask friends that are very tech savvy what they think about it, or to try out the product. But these are just a few examples that you can also adopt one part of it if it fits your niche. And if it's not, or if it doesn't fit your niche, then we can actually work on it, and you can ask me some questions on, hey, what can I do to make it work for me? How can I do to make it more innovative and modern for me? So that we can do as well at the end of the session. But tomorrow, with the workflow and the digital transformation, you can also ask even more in-depth specific workflow questions that we are able to answer throughout the journey of the 3 sessions. But make it real is the most important thing that you have to do. So my first example is about Domino's Pizza. We also have it here on the island. But the difference is that in the US, it's much more advanced, and also in the Netherlands, it's much more advanced than in Curaçao. So their transformation focus was e-commerce, mobile applications, and data-driven marketing. And what they did is they shifted from just being just a pizza company to a tech-enabled delivery service or platform. So that means as well that they wanted to upskill their game. And that means as well that if you make it more accessible and easier for people to order, then people will take or choose you probably over the competition. So they built a robust or a very elaborate ordering application and voice-activated tag. So the same as you have Siri, or you have what's the Amazon one called? But even so, Alexa, how can I forget Alexa? But you can, they actually created something like that to be able to meet the expectations of the customers as well, based on their new strategy. And they used AI and data to optimize delivery routes and personalized marketing. So once you download the application, you log in, then they will have your information. And based on all of those information, they can create targeted marketing posts for you. The lesson in this whole spectrum is investing in customer experience, because of course you want to feel special as a customer, and plus data intelligence fuels growth. So if you have data and you invest in your customers, then you will grow, because people will start talking about you. They will recommend you to people even. And also even in traditional industries. So I would probably teach my parents how to use this application to make their life easier. So that is a word of mouth for you right there. Another one, this is more a little bit of a product based. I think we all know Lego. Lego was family owned, went from family owned company to a digital influence. The transformation focus is digital story, fan engagement, and actually they are now very modern. What they did is they reimagined Lego as a digital play experience with games, films, and augmented reality. Created Lego Live, a social network for kids, and overall internal systems with agile digital teams. They even have right now, they do not have instruction books anymore. So that's very interesting because it's very sustainable. But right now, if you buy one of those boxes, you have a code, you insert the code, and then you get the book within your application. So for instance, if you have a kid or and they are really much into playing this thing and they have by any means an iPad or your mobile device, they can actually sit and watch the iPad instead of playing on it, and even and keep themselves busy building new communities. The lesson learned, you can moderize without losing your brand essence. Storytelling and digital ecosystems are powerful. It's all about telling new stories. I want to hear stories. I want to hear your story. And people actually follow people online because of their stories. People are not following brands anymore based on their products, but I want to know your story. So if you can make your story an experience, and by using any types of technology or tools, thumbs up. We support you. Lastly, we have Lush. I do not know if some of you are known with this brand. They went from ethical beauty brand with digital agility. So their focus is mostly e-commerce, ethical resourcing, transparency, and internal tools. So that was the focus: e-commerce, the ethical aspect, and internal tools. For this, they built a custom point of sale, a POS system, to align with ethical value and reduce waste. Also, they enhanced online shopping and digital content strategy, and focus on employees' empowerment tools and in-store digital experience. In this case, again, given the experience is everything. So by any means, you have a vision. The strategy is how can I make an experience? How can I make, besides that, 10K a month? How can I create the experience that people would get to know me, to buy from me, so that I can get that 10K at the end of the month? The lesson here is to tailor your technology, or to tailor your tech to your values, culture, and mission. Transformation doesn't have to be compromised. Does not have to compromise ethics. In other words, in their case, they focus on their values. They wanted to stay true to their values. their vision was to stay true to their values, their culture, and their mission. And they basically updated and recreated their brand to be able to focus on not only the customer experience, but also meet their own expectations as a brand. And that meant as well that because they did that, Lush is pretty much known, and they also have a few stores in Europe. So for the key takeaways of this session, so it's very hands-on. Basically, I can go on and on and on, actually, but I kept it short because I do know that probably you have your to-dos for the day as well. But start with your strategy. So you have your vision, you want to accomplish something, start with your strategy. Do not start with your tools. And the reason I say this is because people really tend, and maybe subconsciously, they see an application online and they're like, I want that application. But when you do that, that means as well you didn't even focus on your strategy. It's just something that it might work, but you have to think of it, does it work for my company or for my purpose or for my goals? Align technology with people and purpose. And so it's not, again, about you. Of course, we want to work less, but how can you make it as interesting enough that you can provide the right service to the people? And this is a very good example is the Lush example that we just mentioned a few moments ago. The other one is a clear roadmap to avoid chaos. We do not want to avoid chaos. And usually, I think people tend to think even that a roadmap can be like a page of or a document of 20 pages, but it can be 5 simple steps that you have to do, 5 simple stages that you have to follow. It's nothing other than that. Start by the discovery and end with the evaluation. And if it doesn't work or it needs revision, go back to the discovery and improve what you have. Sometimes what you have is very good, but it just needs that specific tiny little tweak. Success depends on how well your team uses technology, not just buying it. So sometimes we tend to buy the most expensive things or adopt or start a subscription that is very expensive. But your success depends on how well your team uses it or how well you use it. Taking the example I gave a while back at the beginning, that if you have, for instance, very simple Google and Microsoft, and basically the one has much more features than the other one, but not even the one they chose they can work well with. So that means that if by any means you see a lack of adoption, or by any means if you feel that they're not really understanding the application you chose, or you are not understanding the application you chose for your small company, try to change it or try to change your strategy to be able to work with it if you paid for it already. If you didn't pay for it, just stop using it because it's a waste of time then, and go back to your the drawing board and choose a different that will cater your needs. In this case as well, most companies, if you have the money, you can actually customize it as well. And so there are options that you can avoid making mistakes, wasting time, wasting money. Digital doesn't mean complex. Digital is tend to be the most easiest thing that we can have. I mean, it didn't take a long time to learn how to work with a calculator, to learn how to work with your computer, to learn how to work with your smartphone. It didn't take a lot of time, right? So same goes for an application. It doesn't have to be complex. If it's very complex, that means that person built that specific application to cater their needs, not your needs. And maybe you might need another application that is, unfortunately, sometimes much more expensive to cater your needs, or even free to cater your needs. But digital doesn't mean it's complex. think long-term and act in phases. Of course, you want to reach short-term, of course, very quickly you want to get more money, very quickly you want things to happen. But try thinking long-term instead of short-term when it comes to, actually, if you have to buy an application, think of it, will it meet, or will I be using it for the long run or just for a few months? If it's for a few months, trust me, you have free versions of nearly everything. So if it's for a short term, try the free versions. If it's for a long term, invest in it and work in phases, especially if you are working with a team. Even working in Slack, for instance, I remember people didn't know how to work with Slack. It was, people were panicking, getting anxieties to work in Slack, but it was the most ease of use application ever at that point. But again, if you do not work in phases, if you do not take time to explain to people how things work, then it will become very difficult for the company or people around you to adopt the digital application. And you do not have to do this alone. So as previously mentioned, if you have a plan or if you have, let's say, a vision, talk about it with your business partner. If you do not have a business partner and you run solo, you're a solopreneur, talk about it with your business coach, for instance. Talk about it with professionals in the field. If they need certain specific applications, or what do you think about this application? What do you think about this process? So that you actually know that you're not wasting your money and your time. By talking to these people, you actually connect with them. That means probably more business for you as well. But you do not have to do this alone. There are people out there that are willing to help. There are services out there that actually you have to pay them a certain amount of money to be able to create these things for you. And especially when it comes to workflows, to give you advice on applications, people will help you. As I mentioned, tomorrow, so we're coming to an end for this session. But as I mentioned, tomorrow we are going to have a session of a webinar based of 3 sessions. And the first session is Technology Fundamentals for Small and Medium Enterprises, that we're going to focus basically what we spoke about today. We're going to go a little bit more in depth tomorrow. We're going to talk about in session 2 about the automation and essentials. So what do you have to do to be able to automate? Am I ready to automate? What is it? Basically what, so we're going to go again back to the basic for you to be able to understand what it is and also how it works. Because step number 1 in that case, your workflow needs to be in check. And number 2, integrating technology for growth. So by using the proper workflow processes and also automation at one point, you can integrate technology in such a way that it will grow your business. So not only on websites, but basically it goes as simple as an email, email domain name. It will make a change. Maybe it's not AI-based, but it will go a long way for you to understand the workflow, to understand your process, to be able to integrate technology on a higher scale in your business for it to be able to grow. And this is me. Let's innovate together. I am here to support you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me or send me an email or connect with me, especially on LinkedIn, where I usually upload all of my updates. So let's explore technology together and perform in your business.